Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another week of the Better Events Podcast. This is Mary Davidson, one of your co-hosts, and in today's episode, we are talking all about how to grow and differentiate your services in the events industry. So we're talking about services, niches, all of that good stuff. So you're going to want to tune into this. There are so many tips and tricks, like always, but we really think that this is one of those key episodes that maybe you'll refer back to throughout your career. So we hope you enjoy, and let's get into it.
Welcome to the Better Events Podcast. Join two event strategists, Logan Clements and Mary Davidson, who believe we can all create, host, and attend better events. In this podcast, you will learn about event strategy and actions that you can use today as an event host, planner, or manager. Hear directly from the people who are creating innovative and inspiring events today and tomorrow, and grow your business along the way. Now, let's get started, and thanks for listening to the Better Events Podcast.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Better Events Podcast. I'm Logan Clements, one of your co-hosts, and I'm joined by fellow co-host Mary Davidson. And let me be the first one, hopefully, to tell you a happy Thanksgiving. I know we are a day early, but happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners out there. We're so grateful for you and all the amazing community you've helped us build here. But speaking of Thanksgiving, Mary, our conversation starter today is, what Thanksgiving food are you most looking forward to eating this year?
Okay, so normally I'm not a Thanksgiving food person, unfortunately, but this year I'm really looking forward to it. So one of my favorite things that I'm excited to eat are always the rolls, but I'm also excited for just like sides in general. And that always looks different depending on where we have Thanksgiving dinner. But like sometimes there's mac and cheese, sometimes there's just like other salads or whatever, but I love the sides. So I'm excited about that. Logan, what about you? What are you excited to eat this Thanksgiving?
I'm having an unconventional Thanksgiving because I'm in Australia for the actual day of Thanksgiving. And I've decided, and it was from my time of living in China where I learned that while the food is important, the food is not the main thing for me on Thanksgiving. It's more the people I'm with. And so I have had pizza for dinner. I've had sushi. I've also gone to restaurants where I lived in Shanghai that like made a Thanksgiving spread. So I am with you. I'm usually a sides gal, Mary. I love me some like green bean casserole that my mom makes, and just even your classic mashed potatoes and gravy. But honestly, if I were having a traditional Thanksgiving, it would probably be what I just said, sides and then the mashed potatoes with a lot of butter. But again, for me, it's more the people. And I'm going to get to be with one of my friends in a brand new country. And I don't know what we're going to be eating, but it will be Thanksgiving no matter what it is.
That's lovely, Logan. A nice sentiment. So happy Thanksgiving to all, and we hope you enjoy. So before we get into it, we have our Better Events Conference plug because it's not too late. We are almost in the month of the in-person day of the Better Events Conference. It is Thursday, December 18th in Seattle. It's not too late to join us. We would love to see you there. You can go to bettereventspod.com/conference to get your tickets.
Yes, and we are so thrilled to get to meet those of you who are joining us in person, but that is actually where we got a little bit of our inspiration for today's episode. We had a couple of our Better Events Conference attendees ask us a couple questions that we figured we could kind of put them together. So we had some folks asking about differentiating my business from the competition while also not trying to alienate my business from the customer base, as well as somebody who was just kind of generally asking about finding and expanding my event services. So we're hoping we're going to touch on a couple of those topics. I think this is also a great time of year, Mary, to be talking about this because with the new year comes, I think, opportunities to try something different. So we are going to be talking both from experience and maybe a little aspirational as we look ahead to 2026. So Mary, our first question here, how does growth tie into the services you offer as an event business?
Yeah, well, growth, we had this whole theme last year for the Better Events Conference. Growth means different things to different people, but differentiating or changing your services is something I think that allows you to offer something new. So that could mean that growth could just mean trying something new, getting into a new niche of the industry. It could mean offering more, because I know growth, a lot of times people think of it as more services, more clients, more business, whatever you want to look at it as. So I think that those are probably like the most obvious answers and obvious ways that they can help you. But I think there are some less obvious ways too. But I'll start with that, Logan. I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, this one's a little harder for me because I challenge the term grow. I feel like I would interchangeably use that as more. And I will say, like, myself as an individual business owner and a freelancer, I have definitely differentiated by doing less services. Like, I've kind of niched down. Mary's giggling at me, but I'm like, I'm doing more by getting more honed in on exactly what part of the event I want to be a part of. And so it has helped me grow my business because I think I've gotten better at being like, I don't do this, I do this, by owning being a show caller and a stage manager and a producer and being in the ballroom, the main program room where things happen, or the breakout rooms. I say anything with a stage and a microphone is usually the part that I'm a part of. And that has helped me, I think, with my messaging and staying top of mind for clients versus being very general and just saying I do events. So maybe it is more growing.
Through specialization, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
specialization, and yeah, probably saying like your area of interest with your services, but not necessarily like you don't have to grow services, meaning I do more things. If anything, I'm doing less different types of things and doing more events with very specific roles.
Yeah, and that's why I think this is an interesting conversation because it can look like both of those things. It can look like the specialization, the service expansion, or even other things. So it's just like sometimes the services, when you change them, can change your client relationships, and that could be growth in one way or another, depending on your goals. So, yeah, it's kind of an interesting conversation today.
We do interrupt this podcast episode so you can hear from one of our lovely partners of the pod, Audio Engineers Northwest, and its founder, Sean Walker, with your monthly audio tip from the experts.
Hey, it's Sean Walker with Audio Engineers Northwest. This week's question was about which microphone to use for panel discussions. I would say that we have had the best luck with just your standard Shure SM58 on a little tabletop stand, and that's worked awesome. Sometimes we have a push-to-talk switch in front of it, sometimes not, depending on, if people can manage it or not. But it works well, it's stable, they're inexpensive and cost-effective, so we like those, generally speaking. All right, go have good events.
Thanks so much, Sean. Listeners, again, I do double down. Please reach out to him if you have any audio questions. Sean has been an amazing supporter of the Better Events community. If you went to our conference last year, you might have met him. And he is just such a good expert to have in your back pocket if you're looking for any advice on how to make the most of your audio, visual, or production budget these days. So definitely go check him out. We put the link in the show notes. But without further ado, let's get back to the episode. Here, Mary, why is differentiation important in an event business?
This is also interesting because if you listen to our podcast, you know that we talk about community over competition, but we're also not like we are aware that in some areas there's more competition than others. Luckily in Seattle, we're in an area that there is a lot of collaboration, but of course there's still some competition as well. But we've heard from you all, especially those that might be in smaller areas where there is more competition. It just kind of is how it is. So that's why I think differentiation can be important in business, is because how are you different from your competitors, frankly? What are you doing that's not necessarily even better, it's just different? Like, where are you niching? What services are you offering that someone else isn't offering, and things like that. So I do think that when you decide to do something different, it helps you stand out, hopefully for the better. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. So Logan, what would you add to that? Why is differentiation important in business?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, it's for me, it's being memorable. And I would also interchange, if you're someone who doesn't own a business, you're not part of the service expansion, like this episode, you could probably take out the word business and put networking, because I think so many of those things go hand in hand. But yeah, just being memorable. And that's part of my pep talk to anytime I network or do like free calls with people who are looking to pick my brain about events, is like, I go, unfortunately, we're all forgettable. Even me. I think I'm so cool and I'm awesome, but like, I'm forgettable. People will
No
forget me.
way.
I know, Mary. It's sad. But like, the whole point of like, it's on you to kind of stay top of mind for people. And so I even have coached folks when they tell me they're interested in events. I'm like, can you send me an email with like 2 sentences about specifically what in events you love? Like, do you love spreadsheets? Do you love working with speakers? Are you the troubleshooting queen? Like, whatever it is. That, because I was like, if you just tell me like events, I can't like, my brain just won't retain it when someone's asking me, oh, do you know someone who does XYZ? I also give you permission for that to change. So it could be true right now, because that's true for me. Logan from 2016 would have told you a very different statement than what Logan from 2025 is telling you. But I think figuring out, if you're the business owner who asked that question of like, how do I differentiate my business from my competition, is you need to tell your story, because we are all different. Yes, Mary and I can both execute an event, but our format and our method of getting there might be slightly different. There's also personality differences, and you might just like one personality better, other than the other one. It's not better. It's just like you and I gel well. And I feel this as a planner as well. Like I'll be like, this person, we're in sync. This is gonna be a great project. I love working on it. And there's other people I've worked with, I've been like, something's out of sync. I don't know what it is. I can try my best to adjust and be there, but like I can clearly tell I'm not their favorite person. And that's okay too. That doesn't mean that's a bad client.
Yeah, and I think the key too is what you're saying is to figure this out, because I think I know the answer to this now for myself, but I don't think I knew it until maybe like a year and a half ago. And that might shift again in the future too, but it took me a long time of just seeing what other people were doing and trying to get familiar with the other businesses that were around to understand how mine was different, because it is sort of hypothetical unless you do see what your competitors are doing out in the area as well. So yeah, like do the research, try to talk to the people, or if nothing else, be checking out their websites and all of that, their LinkedIn's, to see what their history and experiences and all of those things. So yeah, Logan, what makes one event business stand out more than another when so many offer similar services, especially in our industry?
Well, from my perspective, a lot of it is just relationship based. Like, why did we go with company A over company B? And it's because somebody knew folks at company A. And so that helped when they were asking for a bid, or maybe if they are making people do different proposals, but they're like, I just like this person, or I've worked with them before. I will say I use that when I'm helping, not planning companies, but if I'm working with like an AV company. I just had a client I worked through this where we chose one over another because I had 4 other people in a trusted network that I'm a part of say, oh, we love like unprompted, just being like, love this company. I was like, great. That gives me at least a year to work with them. Which is probably hard for the listener who asked this question, because they're like, Logan, how do I build those relationships? But I just think sometimes it does come down to people's gut reactions. And Mary, I'm interested for you, because you also, I pose myself as a person of like how I market myself. You're as a business. So like, how would you answer this question of what makes one business stand out from another when so many folks offer similar services?
I think my first answer is just like quality of work. And that may seem obvious because Logan, like in my heart, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like for me, it's the relationships. I'll do anything if I can just work with nice people, who are kind. But I was actually just having a conversation about this. And because I was thinking of like holiday gifts and like, what do I want to do for holiday gifts? Are we going to do client holiday gifts this year? Does anyone even care? Do they even look at them? I don't really get a response when I send them. Is it worth all of these things? So I've been thinking of that little conundrum. And then I was talking to my husband. He was like, um, he years ago would get these cookies, Cheryl's Cookies, if you know what I'm talking about, because they're like a nationwide in the US like cookie company. Maybe they ship outside the US too. I don't know. But they're these soft sugar cookies that I absolutely love. And one of the like people he worked with, he was a client of theirs, would send him Cheryl's cookies every holiday. And so he would bring them to me. And I every year I'm like, you remember those people who sent those cookies? Those are so good. So like his wife, remembered these random cookies from this like random company. And so anyway, we were talking about it, and he was like, yeah, but at the end of the day, he doesn't work with them anymore because they were so slow at responding. And they just didn't provide like a wonderful, level of service. And so I was like, so what you're saying is at the end of the day, it just comes down to like how well people are doing their job. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know about that. So anyway, it's fresh in my mind. I'm trying to figure it out. So hopefully that story helps you if you're listening to this. But I do think the quality of work is something that truly can make you stand out. But that's hard to prove. I think someone kind of has to work with you first to be able to see that.
Yeah, I think I'd add to that too, though, is we talk about being memorable. So some kind of specificity. If you are somebody who uses a website or social media to get leads or grow your brand, getting specific about like who you are as a business owner, what kind of events you love doing, what are the tasks that like your team could do with their eyes closed, or even like I have on my About Me page, I have like funny questions like who'd I have dinner with if I could pick anybody in the world, or what new sports thing am I trying, my favorite drink, like just stuff that humanizes you. I think at least for me personally, I like, because then it makes me feel like it's a real tangible company, versus if I look at it's like, we create experiences, we help clients achieve their event goals, and it's like standard stock imagery, stock things. I'm like, I don't feel the person behind it. So that's not saying you aren't good at what you do. It just, you're not giving me a connection point to be like, oh, we're buddy. Like, I could see myself being friends with you, and that can, like, again, to my part of the relationship piece, I think helps just, again, help you stand out when it's like you're looking at numbers. And maybe in your case, Mary, too, it's like gathering, I don't know, I've done like testimonials from clients you've worked with. And like when I was first trying to get off the ground with some of my virtual stuff, I literally like did some virtual facilitation for like a friend's birthday. And I was like, can some of you guys write me a nice review of how well, because they were like, wow, this was really good. It's like, all right, let me get like testimonials, I think can help too. Clients seeing themselves in the words of another, because that's also hard, is to show photos. Sometimes you can't show pictures from what you do. So it's a tight line you walk, but I wouldn't give up, I guess, is we're having trouble answering this question. But like I would say you will find it. I think it just takes a little bit of trial and error.
Yeah, and I think that answers our next question too, on like how you identify your unique value or niche, because I do think that can take trial and error, exactly what you just said. It's hard to figure out. Logan, how have you kind of figured out your unique value and niche over time?
I mean, I think I kind of fell into it a little bit, because to me, it's the intersection of like what clients are like really, what they're saying, wow, this was really helpful. Logan, you really helped reduce my stress around this really stressful piece of audio, visual, and production, to like also me when I like am reflecting after an event, being like, I loved the pressure of it being like seconds to decide. Like, we got to figure this out. I love that. And noticing that I love that, and that's what clients love, and finding that intersection of the two. It's also helpful to like, Mary, we've talked about the podcast, you don't love production. And so it's been very like interesting to me. Like, you'll dabble in the world, but like seeing how you experience it also reiterates to me like, no, I'm doing what I should be. Like, I do love this. And having it be okay that both of us can be great at events, but own these different pieces, has helped me both with self-reflection, but also seeing what other people are doing and what gets them excited, and me being like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So, and that sometimes it was easier to do the I don't want to's versus to know what the ones I do like. But I think it's kind of both, to figure out what you as an event business, what is your, and I hated the word niche. I will say that, Mary, when I first started in business, people were like, find your niche and own it. And I was like, I don't want a niche. I want to do everything. I want to be everything to everybody. And so I found my way to my niche, though I'm very resistant to it, because I think I heard niche is like, you need to do corporate only, or nonprofit only, or you're the conference gal, or you're the gala gal. And I was like, I like the variety. I like the difference, but I have niche down into like what my role is, or my normal roles around an event are in that production vein. And that has helped me just stay really focused on like my development, my learning, my skills. So I got there eventually, but I think I just had to reframe it, because I hated the idea that my niche had to be a type of an event and not necessarily a type of a role at an event.
Yeah, totally. Because when I describe our services, it's like we do fundraising events, community events, and corporate events. And it's like that is a lot of things, to your point. And in my mind, I am still like, I want to do all the things. I want to try these new events. If somebody comes to me with an incentive, I'm like, yes, let's do it. Let's try it. Let's figure it out. So we've done some of those. But like, what are you seeing me advertise? Or like, if I'm speaking at something, I'm saying we specialize in fundraising events, because that's 85% of the business that we do. And that's true. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be doing anything else. It's just like, that's what it's fell into, because I've tried to get more community events. I've tried to get more corporate events, but where we keep falling back is the fundraising and nonprofit events. So I've just been kind of rolling with that. So hopefully that helps with you. We're, like Logan said, we're not saying you can't do a lot of things. It's just more about how are you like messaging it and falling into it in other ways. The other thing is that I would suggest just listening for what people are asking for. And then, because Logan was talking about like if you want to do it right or you don't want to do it, I think is what you were saying. Also, depending on your goals, like, can you do it? And so when you hear someone say something or hire somebody else, well, maybe you could streamline that and make it easier for them, because you could do it, or you could have someone do that. So like we started offering some registration services. I like to say some because it depends on the event, but because we kept referring that out, that is the biggest thing that we refer out. So I was trying to figure out how to keep it a little bit more internal. And so we expanded our services in that way, and we have plans to do so more in the future. But that's just one example of that.
And that sprung for me because I also, for some events, I do registration things, and I would say I don't specialize it. So again, there's always like the yes, and it just kind of depends sometimes on the client. I think another thing to think about as a business owner, or just a business, is while you're differentiating yourself, you really want to focus on like what's your unique approach or your personality or your style, and making sure you're not necessarily like putting down those that are your competitors, because as we talk about on this podcast, they are also your community. And so you want to make sure it's not saying, well, they do it that way, but so I'm better because I do it this way. It's more like both things can be true. I'm a spreadsheets gal. I love a spreadsheet. I know there are planners out there that are probably great planners that don't use spreadsheets. Gasp. But they probably do. Like, and that's okay. And like both things are okay, but it's going to be something like we're going to have different clients that get attracted to that. I think also for me as a new business owner, I wish I'd kind of shouted it from the rooftops more about what I did. I think I thought a lot more people would like just notice my beautiful website or notice my occasional social media post and like come find me. And that just wasn't the case. I needed to be in having this podcast and having my YouTube channel, things that are like regularly on a weekly basis, making me post and talk about and showcase what I know about events. That has leaned into very like tangible, real business and referrals, and people thinking, oh yeah, Logan knows events. And the only way they would have known that is because they've seen me doing posts and things like that. And when I was first starting, I feel like I was worried about bragging or seeming too like full of myself by telling people. And yet all the success I had early on was from me going out and being like, hi, I'm Logan. I'm newer to events. I used to work full time. Now I'm freelance. I would love to volunteer, work with you, get a new client, like whatever it was. And only through that like concerted outreach did I start to get stuff.
It's like thought leadership too. Like
Yeah,
that is absolutely something that probably helps you stand out. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. But just even like putting up a website and not getting any hits is not a reflection of you as a planner or an event manager or an event business. Like the internet doesn't work that way anymore. It really has to be more of like, and I know also a lot of planners, I don't know, Mary, if you do, I know there's several folks in the production world who are like, I don't even have a website. And it's like a badge of honor for them. And it's like, great, because you've clearly built your reputation on word of mouth alone. And that's totally valid. You don't need a website. I think nowadays, if you're new, it helps to have a website so that when somebody Googles you, they have a showcase of your services. But yeah, I don't want to get too off topic on that because I could keep talking.
No, this is good. But Logan, so let's say someone decides, okay, they want to make a change. When do you decide that it's the right time to expand your services or add new offerings?
Oof. Well, one of it could be just because it's the time of year. So, at the start of a new year, new service is probably how some businesses do it. I think I take more of an approach that I'd be curious if you're similar, Mary, where it's more, I do it on a project by project basis. So hearing from a client, hey, do you also offer this? It's me evaluating like, okay, can I do it? Is it a me role? Am I bringing in somebody else to help execute that role? And then like post event, figuring out if I even liked it. And then if I want to add that to my list that I offer when people ask. So it's a little bit more of a trial and error, I would say. First ask, and then I try doing it. Versus me just coming up with what I think people know. That's, I think, a common mistake business owners make. As you said, Mary, earlier, like you need to listen to what people are asking for. So curious for you, Mary, how would you answer that? When's the right time for you to add new offerings?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said. And that's when it comes down to us for just like hey, I could do that, so I'm going to add it in the proposal and we're going to figure it out. But also with our team, we would have these things like called seasonal team planning sessions, and we would take a look back at the last season of events and just think of trends or lessons learned or things we wanted to do differently, just have a reflection time. And during one of those times, we took a look back at our services. We also had a new team member on our team at that time, which then expanded our services. And so we were going through it together and just thinking through like, what can we add to this? And I still remember like we had the proposal up and we were like adding things in red, just trying to explain our services better or add new services. And that was a cool experience. And it really changed our proposals too. And so whether you have a team or not, I think you could do that by yourself. Is just really go like deep deep down into your services that you have listed and kind of think that through. The other thing that we realized from doing that activity is that we were already doing some things that we didn't have listed as services. So we were kind of like, I feel like undermining our value in that way. It was things that seem obvious, but we wanted to list them out explicitly, like contingency planning or like accessibility planning or like materials management. Because someone throws us a slide deck, that happens to us all the time. But are you listing it as a service? Like, because it truly is a thing to kind of manage those materials for people. And so, yeah, those are just some examples that were helpful for us.
I do feel like the key takeaway is there's not necessarily a set time. But I think to your point, Mary, I think it is good to retroactively reflect is a great way to think back. And to your point, find out maybe you are offering more services than you realize. And then, forward thinking when someone asks you, would you do this? And figuring out, is that a service you want to use? I also think a nice like middle ground is if you are doing this networking with other people who do similar things to you, it even could be doing the same. They call themselves an event planner and you call yourself an event planner, but like you love logistics and they love the creativity, the dealing with the decor and the colors and the themes. And like, is there a way you two could partner on a project and showcase, what they're great at, but then also you're bringing what you're great at versus you having to all of a sudden discover, oh yeah, am I passionate about decor and all this other stuff? So there's opportunities there where you could kind of do a test. You're not necessarily saying this is a long-term project, but you can be very transparent. Like, hey, I'm partnering with this other planner who is really good at this, this, and this. And we're going to team up together to, execute this aspect of your event. And that might seem scary because you might be worried that person could then take the whole event from you. But I feel like that goes against our community over competition mindset that we really have here. And I can't think of any time, honestly, now that in my head, Mary, thinking back, like where I've had a negative situation come out of bringing in somebody else to partner with me on it.
No, same. It's just that credibility. Like, I feel like it helps build your credibility with who you know. And yeah, all of that can definitely help. Yeah, that's interesting though, because you can expand your services by using other people for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, Logan, how do you test or introduce a new service without overwhelming your team or confusing your clients? Like actually putting it into action? How does that go down?
I mean, your answer is going to be better at this because you have a team. Like for me, a lot of what I commit to, I feel like is me committing to it.
But you sometimes you say you're your worst boss.
I am.
So
usually with overwhelming. Yeah, I'm overwhelming myself with how much time I've committed to things. Yeah, I mean, for me, I've had to give myself the pep talk when I try a new role. Usually it's a more senior role, maybe than something I've had in the past is like, I will be very much in my head leading into this, getting on site for this event. And I have to just remind myself that everybody had to do something for a first time. Doesn't matter what it is. For anybody, like, everybody had to go down the bunny slope as a skier for the first time. Meaning they also had to go down a black diamond as a skier for the first time, or jump off the diving board, or do something scary. So it's like when I get put into like, wow, I've never show called for a, 30,000 person stadium. It's like, well, I've done it for smaller stadiums. What I do is the same. Doesn't matter how many people are in the room, but also there is going to be a moment of me being like, dang, I'm a little out of my depth. I might be a little nervous going into it. So for me, it's been a lot more internal. But then also if I'm doing something in that capacity, depending on my relationship with the client, I might be honest with them of like, hey, I've done something similar, but I have not done this specific thing, just so they know that I'm open to learning and open to feedback. Which I think, again, depending on the relationship, if it's a brand new client where you don't feel like you have that ability, maybe not. But when it's someone you've worked with before and it's like, hey, I haven't managed this team of 10 state. When I first had to do that, I was like, I hadn't managed a team of 10 stage managers before. So I'm asking the person who hired me, I was just like, what are the templates? Do you have anything from last year that, worked really well with a lot of these folks are returners? Like, and I'm really open to feedback if you'd like me to manage the team differently. And like that worked really well for me, just being open about it. So I think that's a safe space depending on the relationship. Mary, how would you answer that question?
I don't know that it's been confusing to clients when we've done this. I've been trying to think through when it might be. It's been a fairly easy sale because normally we're adding on the new service because we see a gap or a need. And so, like, for example, we were talking to a client and they were hiring a registration company historically, and we really liked this company. And so it wasn't like it was a tricky situation for us because I was like, wow, they're really charging them a lot of money for this event for what they're offering. And if we're going to start doing registration services, we could do it for less. And we already have a contract with them. So it's like more streamlined for the client if they just hire us for it all. And so I pitched them on that without saying anything bad about the other company. In fact, I was like, we really like them. We were like working with them. I just know that we could do it cheaper. And so we could throw it in our proposal. And they booked us for all of it. And so, yeah, so it wasn't confusing. It was kind of an easy sell. But I think those are the services that we've been strategically trying to expand on, or the easy sells. But the other thing is that it is a lesson learned about hours too, because when it is a brand new service, like usually we price it out based on how long it typically takes us to do that service, but it's new, so we don't know. So we're estimating, and so we usually do get burned a little bit the first few times. Then we're like, oh, that took one more time than we thought. So we're gonna bump that one up in the future. So yeah, I think that there is a bit of a learning curve time too.
And I guess that would be understanding what financial risk is there. Cause mine, you jogged my memory. I mean, I paid for like a virtual platform for a client, and I billed them like a rental fee of just, a portion of what I would pay for it annually. Cause in my head, I was like, everybody's going to use this service. And it was Vimeo. I'll tell everyone here. It was Vimeo, but like Vimeo is not cheap for an annual thing. And for my nonprofit client, it was, they wouldn't use it. And if they didn't use it, we couldn't do the event the way we wanted to. And so I was like, oh, I'll pay the annual fee. I'll charge you like a percent, like 10, 20% of it. And I'll definitely use this again. Well, I didn't use it again. So it was a loss. And I had it and it was available, and I had a whole year subscription. So it was in my back pocket if any other client asked for it, but like no one else needed it. And I'm not going to push that on someone else just to like recoup my money. But to your point, it turned into like, okay, didn't make money on it. Also, no one else is asking me for it. So like, not going to renew it. It's just going to be it was a one-time, 1 year sunk cost. So trial
That's
and
actually
error.
interesting because that's why I don't like inventory. Like why I try not to keep anything. And that's a model that some people, you're probably listening to this, they do that. They have the inventory and they charge for every time it's used. But for me, I'm like, I don't even want to go down that route because of what you just said.
Yeah, because I mean, it could be decor pieces, other event elements. I mean, there's probably use cases for, but mine was just a light foray into it, and I was like, wow, that was money I didn't need to, and like literally negated that event. But again, wouldn't have done it unless I tried it. Now I know. So would love to hear from you listeners if any of you specialize in keeping inventory and all of that good stuff. As we get to the end of our episode, Mary, what's one piece of advice you'd give to event pros looking to grow strategically this season in their service offerings?
I know we said we feel some sort of way about the word grow, but I would say um my advice is to do that deep dive and really think about like the auditing of your services before you expand. Really think through what others are doing, what people are asking you for, and kind of strategically think through that. And then why not try it? That's my advice, I guess, is just throw it in and kind of see what happens. It doesn't negate the rest of your services when you're adding like one small other service. So just try it, and that's how you build it. And so try something new, especially at this time of year. It's a good time to try new things. So that's my piece of advice. Logan, what about you? What's your one piece of advice you'd give to event professionals looking to grow strategically this season?
I have two, and they're action items because we're at a good part of year for it. So to dovetail on what Mary, you just said, go back and audit your website and or your social media accounts and make sure they're presenting a version of you and your business that matches what you currently offer and what you're excited about. Because I think we are better at updating how we talk about things, but then you go back and look, and you're like, I have been very honest on this podcast. My website said we for like my first 2 years of business, maybe even 3 years of business, of like, we at Logan Strategy Group, we're a team, we're so many people. And now I redid it all over, and it's all because it's me, it's Logan. With Logan Strategy Group, I can put a team behind me, but like mainly people are interested in working with me. The second would be, if there is a new service you're offering, why not build your community while also, improving your business skills? Reach out to 2 people on LinkedIn that are doing or offering that service you want to offer. They can be geographically close to you. If you feel uncomfortable about that, pick somebody who doesn't live anywhere near you, where you can just ask for their advice. Asking someone for 20 minutes their time to hop on a phone call or let you send them a couple questions via an email, you might be surprised you can then learn how other people learn things the hard way so that you don't have to learn. But I think that's both of those are action steps to like do something about this strategy that we're talking about.
I love it. So many good tips. So hopefully this was helpful for you all. And thank you for asking these questions during your registration for the Better Events Conference. And listeners, whether you attend the conference or not, send us your questions. This is how we build a lot of our topics. So we would love to hear what other questions you have that you would like to hear about or people that you would like to hear from. So we're always open to that. Now we are at the end of our episode, and Logan has our bonus tip for today.
Yes, thank you, Mary. My bonus tip this week is to make sure you get your AV or production partner to do a site visit to your venue. It's maybe not as applicable if they live far away, but if they, especially if they're a local company, doing that site visit through their eyes as that vendor can help make sure that you're getting everything you need on your gear list and some stuff you might not. I had this with an event where it was super helpful. Our local AV person went, looked at the space, was able to call out some challenges with the lighting fixtures, which we all know as planners or producers, that doesn't always show up on the floor plan that they give you in 2D. But we were able to make some small adjustments. And then we were also able to make some adjustments to where our tech table was that, again, not earth shattering, but did help save my client some money. And I'm sure helped save us some time on site because we we're going to have a more accurate drawing of the room from them going in person. So have a site visit for your AV vendor, especially, and make sure they know what they're getting into.
Logan, that's such a good bonus tip. We ran into this recently. We realized the AV speakers had to go a different location, and we could have caught that if they came to the walkthrough, and it actually really impacted a lot of things. So, great bonus tip. Totally agree. And thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of the Better Events podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Better Events Pod. You can email us at bettereventspod@gmail.com. You can join us still for the 2025 Better Events Conference by visiting bettereventspod.com/conference. You can connect with Logan and I directly on LinkedIn. We love to hear from you. Just let us know that you heard from us from the podcast. We make sure to accept your request. And if you want more Better Events content, you can also join our private community on Substack. There's so many ways to get involved. We appreciate you joining us today, and we look forward to being back in your feeds again next Wednesday.